Hello, my lovelies. It is time for my Have I Read It number 72. So stay tuned. If you're new here, hi, hello, welcome. If you're not new here, welcome back. Have I Read It is one of my multiple TBR games that I play in order to help pick my TBR for the upcoming month. The way this one works is that I go back to one of my book hauls from over 3 years ago and I tell you if I've read the book, if I haven't read the book, or if I've unhauled the book. And out of all the books that I still own that I have not read, you get to vote on which book or books you want me to read in the upcoming month. And depending on the number of books that I own that I haven't read will determine how many I have to pick. So if I have 1 to 10 books that I own that I have not read, then I'll pick the number 1 voted book. If it's 11 to 20, I'll pick the top 2 voted books, and so on and so on. Once upon a time, if you go back and watch the playlist of all of these Have I Read It's, once upon a time I tried to do a thing where I was like reading every book in that haul that I have not read. That got out of control really, really fast. So this seems to be the better way to go about doing it. This particular haul that we're going to react to today doesn't seem too big. It is my book haul December 2019. And from looking, I don't know, I'd say maybe 15 to 20 books in that stack. Maybe. So shouldn't be more than 1 or 2 that I end up having to read from this. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll have one where I've read all of the books. I think that's only ever happened once in all 72 episodes of this. So, fingers crossed we can do it again. Before we get started, I do need to connect some earbuds to my computer, which I forgot to already do. And now it also looks like I need to change my battery out. So let me go do that, and I'll be right back. Alright, I've got my earbuds connected. I've got my battery changed out. Let's get started. Hey guys, it's Melanie. Welcome to my channel. Today I have another book haul for you, so stay tuned. So this is my December book haul. Yes, I know it's late. Aren't they all? Anyway, I have 15 books here that I accumulated in the month of December, from subscription boxes, from books that I ordered off of Amazon, and books that I was given as Christmas gifts. So let's just jump right into it. The first 3 books that I have here are books that I actually pre-ordered on Amazon, and they came in December. So the first book that I have here is The Queen of Nothing by Holly Black. I have not read The Queen of Nothing. I think that's part of the Cruel Prince series. Let me check. Okay, so it is book 3. It looks like I've read books 1 and 2. Don't really remember them too much. Maybe if I read spoilery synopsis, I might be able to jump back in, because I'd hate to have to read both of them over again. I vaguely remember book 1. So book 1 is The Cruel Prince, and let me tell you about that, because I can't tell you really about book 3 because I might spoil something. So The Cruel Prince says, "Of course I want to be like them. They're beautiful as blades, forged in some divine fire. They will live forever. And Carden is even more beautiful than the rest. I hate him more than all the others. I hate him so much that sometimes when I look at him, I can hardly breathe." Jude was 7 when her parents were murdered, and she and her 2 sisters were stolen away to live in the treacherous high court of Fairy. 10 years later, Jude wants nothing more than to belong there, despite her mortality. But many of the Fae despise humans, especially Prince Carden, the youngest and wickedest son of the High King. To win a place at the court, she must defy him and face the consequences. As Jude becomes more deeply embroiled in palace intrigues and deceptions, she discovers her own capacity for trickery and bloodshed. But as betrayal threatens to drown the courts of Fairy in violence, Jude will need to risk her life in a dangerous alliance to save her sisters and Fairy itself. It looks like I gave that one 3 stars, but then I gave The Wicked King 4 stars. And as I was reading that, I kind of started to remember a little bit about what happened. So I could probably just read something spoilery. Anyway, if you want me to read this, vote the Queen of Nothing. All right, continuing on. Okay, next up we have Children of Virtue and Vengeance. I can't remember if I read Children of Virtue and Vengeance or not. Let me look. I'm pretty sure I've unhauled it. Okay, so I have not read Children of Virtue and Vengeance. I don't think. At least I didn't mark it as read. But I do believe that I unhauled it because I lost interest in continuing the series, I think. Either that or I read it and unhauled it. But I'm just going to mark it as unread and unhauled. Or whatever I have it on there as. Alright, next up. Okay, this next one I have read a couple of times, but I needed this edition. So, it is the 10th anniversary of Clockwork Angel by Cassandra Clare. Yes, as I just said, I read it multiple times. So yay. I read, and I still own that. I have a whole Cassandra Clare display in my living room. All right, next. Okay, these next 4 books are books that came in the Christmas Advent box. So they're not necessarily books that I would pick up for myself. I will probably give them a shot, but they're more like historical fiction or women's fiction, and they're not my kind of genre, but I did really enjoy the box. The first one here is Secret Sisters by Joy Calloway. I feel like I read Secret Sisters. Let me check. So I do have this one marked as unhauled. I'm not sure if I read it or not now that I'm looking back at it, but I did unhaul it. All right, back to the video. All right, next up. Next is All is Beauty Now by Sarah Faber. I think I unhauled that one too. Let me check. I did unhaul that. All right, next. Next up we have Love and Other Consolation Prizes by Jamie Ford. Okay, I'm pretty sure that I did read this, but I also feel like I unhauled it. Let me double check. Okay, so I have read this one, and I'm pretty sure that I unhauled it because I didn't think I would read it again. Yeah. Okay. All right, let me get back to my video. All right, next up. And then the last book from that box is A Piece of the World by Christina Baker Klein. I'm pretty sure I've unhauled this one too. Let me double check. Yes, I have unhauled that one. Next up. Okay, this next book came in their Christmas box, and I actually have read this one. It is called A Royal Christmas Wish by Lizzie Shane. So, as I said, I have read that one. And I believe that is still on my shelves in my guest room. All right, next up. And then the next book, which was in their New Year's Eve Up All Night box, and I've read this one too, was Regretting You by Colleen Hoover. So, as I said again, I have read this one, and I'm pretty sure I still own it on I think it's on my guest room shelves. All right, next. Okay, so this next book is a book that was sent to me by the author to, read with Xander and check it out and see if we liked it. And that is A Quirks Academy by Catherine Pelosi. I have also unhauled that one. Next. Okay, these last 5 books are books that I got as Christmas gifts. These all came from Marty as part of the Advent Christmas gift he did for the entire month of December, and it was amazing and I absolutely loved it. If you want to see all of the gifts that I got throughout the month, you'll have to go back and watch my vlogs from the whole month of December. but it was amazing. And I got so many fabulous bookish goodies, and it was just great. Okay, so the books that he got me, the first one we have is The Light Between Worlds by Laura E. Weymouth. I remember that year. That was such a fun gift. Okay, so this book, I don't remember if I've read it or not. So let me go to double check. Okay, so this is one that it doesn't look like I've read, and it should be on in my closet in my guest room. It says, 5 years ago, Evelyn and Philippa Hapwell cowered from airstrikes in a London bomb shelter. But that night took a turn when the sisters were transported to another realm called the Woodlands. In a forest kingdom populated by creatures out of myth and legend, they found temporary refuge. When they finally returned to London, nothing had changed at all. Nothing except themselves. Now Eve spends her days sneaking into the woods outside her boarding school, wishing for the Woodlands. Overcome with longing, she is desperate to return no matter what it takes. Philippa, on the other hand, is determined to find a place in this world. She shields herself behind a flawless exterior and countless friends, and moves to America to escape the memory of what was. But when Evelyn goes missing, Philippa must confront the depth of her sister's despair and the painful truths they've been running from. As the weeks unfold, Philippa wonders if Eve truly did find a way home, or if the weight of their worlds pulled her under. And it says, content warnings. The Light Between Worlds portrays characters dealing with depression, self-harm, post-traumatic stress disorder, suicidal ideation, illness and disordered eating, and the loss of a loved one. It refers to possible suicide, contains scenes of violence and war, and brief mentions may be unsettling to readers with emetophobia. Okay. Alright, so if you want me to read this, vote The Light Between Worlds. Alright, let me get back to the video. Alright, next up. Okay, these next two books are actually part of a series, which I already have book 1 and book 2 from this series. So Marty got me the novella, which is Reignited, and he also got me book 3, which is Reunited. Okay, I'm pretty sure that I've read Ignited, but I know I have not read Reunited. Okay, so yes, I did read Reignited. I have not read Reawakened, which is actually book 1. Reignited is like a prequel novella. And I only gave that one 3 stars, so I think that's probably why I never jumped into the series. But I do have this, I know I have it in my room. The shelves in my bedroom are all the ones that are series that I've started and haven't finished yet, and so I know that one's in there. So let me tell you about book 1. When 17-year-old Liliana Young enters the Metropolitan Museum of Art one morning during spring break, the last thing she expects is to find a live Egyptian prince with godlike powers who has been reawakened after 1,000 years of mummification. And she really can't imagine being chosen to aid him in an epic quest that will lead them across the globe to find his brothers and complete a grand ceremony that will save mankind. But fate has taken hold of Lily, and she, along with her son Prince, Amon, must travel to the Valley of the Kings, raise his brothers, and stop an evil, shape-shifting god named Seth from taking over the world. So, if you want me to read this, vote Reawakened. Alright, next up. Also, he got me Winterwood by Shay Earnshaw. I'm pretty sure I read Winterwood, but I'm going to check. Okay, I'm wrong. I was thinking about The Wicked Deep. I have not read Winterwood, and I do still own it. This says, be careful of the dark, dark wood, especially the woods surrounding the town of Furhaven. Some say these woods are magical, haunted even. Rumored to be a witch, only Nora Walker knows the truth. She and the Walker women before her have always shared a special connection with the woods. And it's this special connection that leads Nora to Oliver Huntsman, the same boy who disappeared from the camp for wayward boys weeks ago, and in the middle of the worst snowstorm in years. He should be dead, but here he is alive, and left in the woods with no memory of the time he'd been missing. But Nora can feel an uneasy shift in the woods at Oliver's presence, and it's not too long after that Nora realizes she has no choice but to unearth the truth behind how the boy she has come to care so deeply about survived his time in the forest and what led him there in the first place. What Nora doesn't know, though, is that Oliver has secrets of his own, secrets he'll do anything to keep buried, because as it turns out, he wasn't the only one to have gone missing on that fateful night all those weeks ago. For as long as there have been fairy tales, we have been warned to fear what lies within the dark, dark woods, and in Winterwood, New York Times bestselling author Shay Earnshaw shows us why. So, if you want me to read this, vote Winterwood. Alright, it looks like we have just one more book, so let's see what it is. Anyway, the last book I have here is The Devouring Gray by Christine Lynn Herman. I don't think that I have read this. I'm pretty sure that I still own it, but I'm going to double check. Okay, it looks like I still own it, and if I do, it's in my closet in my guest room. This says, on the edge of town, a beast haunts the woods, trapped in the gray, its bonds loosening. Uprooted from the city, Violet Saunders doesn't have much hope of fitting in at her new school in Four Paths, a town almost buried in the woodlands of rural New York. The fact that she's descended from one of the town's founders doesn't help much either. Her new neighbors treat her with distant respect and something very like fear. When she meets Justin, May, Isaac, and Harper, all children of founder families, and sees the otherworldly destruction they can wreak, she starts to wonder if the townsfolk are right to be afraid. When bodies appear in the woods, the locals become downright hostile. Can the teenagers solve the mystery of Four Paths and their own part in it before another calamity strikes? So if you want me to read this, vote The Devouring Gray. Okay, so quick and easy. We have 5 books that you could possibly vote for. We have The Queen of Nothing, The Light Between Worlds, Reawakened, Winterwood, and The Devouring Gray. I'm very curious to see what you're going to vote for. So comment down below which book or books you would like to vote for, and I will be picking the number 1 voted book. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a big thumbs up. If you'd like to see more videos like this, click that subscribe button down below. And until next time, remember to always be completely you. Bye!